Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Joy, would you please call the roll?
Hamilton.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Revelinsky.
Yes.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Ledger Kalin.
Yes.
Hamas.
Yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Thank you. Any additions or changes, council, to our agenda?
Mayor, there is a change to the claims amount.
Okay.
It is less,
Okay.
which is always good.
Yeah.
$1,022,923.54.
Okay. That's what we have published.
That's what's on.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she changed it, but she hadn't changed it on mine.
You got an older
Sorry.
version. All right, very good. So we've got the correct amount on there. Thanks, Joy. Okay, so then we'll move into our consent agenda. We have approval of minutes from our July 27th meeting. We have a liquor license approval for Casey's General Store South and George's Steakhouse, and the amended amount of $1,022,923.54 for our claims. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Moved by
Second.
Hamilton, second by Rasmussen. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Ledger Kalin.
Yes.
Revelinsky.
Yes.
Hamas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to our public appearances. We have requests from Rachel Cannon to address the council regarding some uneven bricks on the sidewalk. Rachel, yes. You pull the microphone down towards you. There you go.
Yes, about 2 weeks ago, a lady fell in front of my building because there are some uneven bricks and cement.
So this is North Main, and your building is just on the alleyway that intersects the... Okay.
Exactly. So she got really upset, but she did not hurt herself much, just a little bit at the elbow. The reason why the brick are uneven and the cement is broken is because, during the winter, the city cleaned the alley and push the snow there and make a pile. And so actually the first year that the city fixed the sidewalk, it happened. But it's getting, now some of the bricks are about 1 inch, uneven, and it's getting kind of very too much. So I was wondering, as the city put the snow there, maybe, it needs to be fixed.
Okay. Mike, I'll ask you to address this if you wouldn't mind. You said you got a chance to take a look at the area, affected area. What did you
Yes,
What did
Mayor.
you think?
I did observe that several bricks had more than 3/4 of an inch of vertical separation in that spot. And speaking with our street superintendent, Darrell Lisgard, we do plow snow through the alley. However, the separation, there's some buckling pressure, some upward pressure, not necessarily downward pressure from piling snow. So it's our feel that it's not caused from piling snow, that from other, some sort of anomaly putting upward pressure on that particular street surface. It's also my understanding that the practice is that usually sidewalk repairs are replaced by the property owner that is adjacent to it. And so I did look at it. It is an issue there, and it's something does need to happen.
The bricks though, are we talking about bricks that are the frontage to the sidewalk?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Okay. Now, these are new enough. We really haven't had this kind of an issue. There's, no question that the sidewalks themselves are, in terms of sidewalk repair, that is the responsibility of the property owner.
Yeah, I knew that, but
Yeah.
to me, the snow is there, the snow melt, it goes between everything, it turns into ice, and ice take more room than water, and it makes sense. Besides, it happened exactly where the pile of snow is, and it started the first year the city put the bricks, and first year it happened. It just, every year it's a little bit more uneven. I do believe it's because of the snow.
Okay. Well, we'd have to see if that, we pile snow a lot of places around the square. We'd have to see what happens in those places as well. It should happen everywhere if that's the case. And if it's not, I just don't know that we can say that that's the actual cause of it. But my question is, who's the responsibility of the bricks? Since we were the ones who put those in.
We put the bricks in?
Yes.
That was part of the
That's part of the
streetscape
streetscape.
Uh-huh.
Right.
project.
It wasn't,
$750,000
Yeah.
worth of work we did in the downtown area. Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
This is the only location where we have bricks on the ice?
No,
No.
this is not
Probably
the only
not.
location.
We
The
didn't-
bricks are uneven and separated and broken and popping out in some locations. No, this is not the only location.
But the problem is people keep going back and forth.
Yeah, it's a high traffic area right there because of Revelations. You know, people
Exactly.
come and go from your business as well as their business and your building.
And then people don't pay much attention, you know.
It's
She had a
dangerous.
dog, a
Right.
service
It
dog,
is.
and
It is
she,
dangerous. It's very
she
dangerous.
falls completely on her stomach. She really was so upset. She was looking for what make her fall, but it was the bricks, you know.
But again, I agree with the mayor. This is kind of a question as to which came first, the chicken or the egg, when it comes to the bricks out in front of the properties down through the streetscape area.
However, I would say that, I mean, since we were the one who decided we want to put a brick sidewalk in there, I mean, it's one thing if the property owner has just a plain sidewalk and it's buckled and it was their responsibility, they put it in or whatever, they bought the property with it there, but somehow I feel a little ownership for this. If the, not just here, but in general, I imagine it'd be expensive to, how would we fix that? I mean, how would it be fixed?
Do we have the skills in-house to do it, to fix it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you have to pull it apart and, you know, grade it down even and reset the bricks. I mean, they're set in sand, they're not mortared together, so it's something I think we have the skill to do.
Daryl?
So,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and we'll make a
It
decision.
will break a little bit of cement also, the pile. It's
Well,
like this.
that's something we won't deal with cement, because that
It
is
happened at the
regardless.
same time.
Yeah, it's just regardless, it's the property owner's responsibility. Otherwise, then we're dealing with every property owner that has a cracked
Yeah,
cement.
but not everyone has snow. As you said, if at the
Yeah.
places where there is snow, it
Yeah.
happened, that's probably the cause.
Council, would you be in favor of repairing cement sidewalk in front of somebody's business in
cement sidewalk.
I
downtown?
think that's a good idea.
No?
Not cement, but I would really consider that. I think we
Yeah.
should look into this special sidewalk that we put in.
Refer this to, which committee should we refer to? Or
Well, I don't know that we need to refer to committee. Maybe if property committee wanted to look at it, we can
we
do
don't
that
have a
or
policy
work
on
with.
this, do we?
Well, we don't on the brick portion. I
Right,
guess.
if it's a question about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or we could just decide now. I mean, Martha, did you have a comment?
I've observed it, and it is dangerous. The only problem, the thing that I worry the most about is if someone does fall, you know, the city, they're going to come back at the city. And I guess that's the reason I think we need to take a hard look at the problem.
In other words, you think the
I
city
mean-
should repair it themselves?
I think that we should be responsible for it.
For the
So
brick.
much.
For the
For
brick.
repairing the
bricks.
bricks.
You know,
Just
just
for the
for the
bricks?
bricks.
For the
Keeping the
bricks.
bricks level.
Right.
Just to keep the bricks level, because it's really dangerous, especially at night.
See, I agree with Martha.
That I think we need to be sure that it's leveled
Well,
and safe.
they're higher maintenance in cement. And
Pardon me?
they're higher maintenance in cement in all likelihood, in the long run. And they're unique to the downtown area. Maybe we should take care of it.
Mike, thoughts?
I don't have thoughts one way. Obviously, this would be an unbudgeted item
Right.
for the next year, and bricks do tend to be expensive, but it's something we can certainly take a look at with our sidewalk fund that we have established. We can perhaps walk the downtown area, get some cost estimates, and bring those back to the council for consideration. That will allow me to speak with Superintendent Biscard to find out if we do have the skill in-house.
I think if we're gonna do these,
Also-
we should do all of them.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily mean they need to be replaced. They just need to be reseeded in many cases, right?
Some of the bricks
Maybe
are
some,
cracked,
sure.
I see.
and there are several that are cracked and compromised.
Yeah, I just can't
And
see we
Daryl,
got to stick that to the property owners. I just,
Well, I also wonder whether we have any stored somewhere, some of the bricks that were used. We might want to also have Daryl contact the contractor who put those bricks in to see if there's anything that we can do on an annual maintenance basis to forego some of these problems in the future. So we will look into that, but I think council, we just want to make it clear that that we don't feel responsible for the cement portion of the sidewalk.
No.
I agree.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah,
I do too.
okay.
Right.
Thank you very much, and we'll look into the bricks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we'll be setting a date for Kiwanis Kids Day. Darren, would you do the honors?
Yes, wow, it's coming up really, really fast. This summer has just flown by with trying to take care of all the extra things that you just didn't realize you had to take care of.
Get ready to pitch that tent and
The Fairfield Kiwanis Club would like the permission to use the downtown square on, let me make sure I get my date correct here,
Third Saturday.
third Saturday of September, which would be the 19th. It would be the day before the car show downtown. I spoke with Chief Thomas earlier today about arrangements for no parking by temporary order along the south side of Grimes, which is on the south side of Howard Park. And then also on the north side of Briggs from B Street to D Street. And Briggs is a very narrow street with parking only allowed on one side anyway. Being able to move around Farmers Market there on Grimes, people tend to park on that side of the street. We'd like to have it a little bit clearer for the parade. Once the parade is through those areas, then those signs will be taken down and traffic will be able to park and move through like they always have. This year, the parade theme is heroes. So if you have any ideas about heroes and heroes for your kids and what heroes are to you or to your organization, please feel free to make a float and join us at 9:30 up at the high school in the parking lot. The parade will be at 10 a.m. On Thursday evening, prior to Saturday the 19th, we will set up our tent, as we always do, on the east side of the square, and we will also get volunteer help from the fire department, as we have in the past. I'll also ask that we get assistance from Pam and the people from the Park and Rec department to work with us to get a porta pot, or hopefully two. We found that one just doesn't quite do it justice over the years. And I know I always think of Pauline Reeder when I say porta potties up on the square, but it's kind of something that we just can't live without when it comes to Kids Day. And so I'll talk to Derek Wolfcool about that. Normally we do a cost share with the city on that. Pam is always really good about bringing extra park benches and stuff that people can sit on and we can use for helping with traffic control. Daryl has the locations where I've asked him to leave a couple extra barricades beyond what he's going to put out for the car show on the following day. And again, I'm going to approach the sheriff's department about borrowing cones to block off traffic on Main Street from the crosswalk at the middle of the square area north to Broadway, all the way across the north side of the square on Broadway itself. The north parking will remain open so people can park there. There will be 2 lanes of traffic that'll be open all the time, at least during the time of Kids Day, other than when the parade comes through.
Move for approval.
We're doing great stuff.
Second.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we certainly do look forward to this day every fall. So,
Yeah,
John,
this is the 50th anniversary of the Fairfield Kiwanis Club coming in December. And this is actually the 49th Kids Day that we will do, the 48th of which we have had the parade and pancakes. So
Wow,
we're
fantastic.
really looking forward to it.
great. All right, so a motion to approve the whole package for parade route, use of the square, street closings, moved by Revelinsky.
Second.
Second by Ledger Kalen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign.
And I will abstain because of my connection with the club.
Thanks. Next, council, we'll move on to our action items and ordinances. We'll start out with a fund balance report. Ask Joy to put that together, and hopefully we're going to review that at each meeting or several meetings throughout the year, so we keep good track of where we are. Joy?
Okay, so if you all have it pulled up, this was at the end of the fiscal year, June 30th. The general fund ended up with $1,029,000. If you compare that to June 30th of 14, we had $141,000. So it looks a lot healthier, a lot healthier.
Primarily from the Logan
And
side?
it was primarily from the Logan. We transferred 730. We had some obligations that we had to take care of. I created an obligated reserve fund, if you see that right underneath the general fund, $100,000. That came out of the sale of Logan, and that's for the downtown.
Our portion of the facade.
Our portion of the
Facade.
facade.
Mhm.
And that, yeah, we do know we owe it, so that's why it's in there. Kind of skipping ahead, if you go clear down, right above airport, which is 660, there's a 612 obligated fund, 245,000, and that's for the new
Airport.
Terminal.
Terminal.
airport terminal.
Is also
So
coming
that
out of
also
Logan?
came out of Logan, yeah.
So what would the general fund balance be if Logan money had not gone in there?
Probably not too, well, you could subtract 730,000. It'd been around.
I thought that the airport said that they had reserves for their terminal. Why did it come out of Logan?
That was part of the restatement of
When we-
that we did when we, we had that going into the commingling of accounts.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
that was a reserve item.
Right.
So coming out of it, it basically had to be funded in this way.
I see.
Their reserve fund was collapsed,
I
so
see.
we need to restore it. So that's why I created the obligated fund.
And that's how much we had in there. We have records.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
And also, I took a little over 100,000 we had earmarked a few things in capital projects, and we had the library solar project that we had promised that would come out of the sale of Logan. So the remaining did go into the general fund. Let's see, going on down. The others are kind of, employee benefits is in the hole, 51,808. The reason for that, employee benefits is all the employees, IBERS, municipal police and fire, workers' comp, FICA. Unfortunately, we had a death of an employee, and we were told that our workers' comp would not increase. It really did. And unfortunately, it's going to it'll stay that way for 3 years. It takes 3 years before you go back down. So we really got hit hard
It
with
increased
our
by-
workers' comp.
Over $50,000 or something?
Yes.
This was the wastewater.
I think it was about 70,000 is what it increased. Yeah. So that's why that's in the hole. That normally is not. So that's going to take it. And of course, I didn't budget for it last year either because I just found out. So it'll be in the hole again.
Although when we do budget this year, what are you going to do with the employee benefits?
So we have a
per
couple,
fund at that point?
couple options, Mayor. We can either increase the employee benefits levy to compensate for this negative fund balance,
Right.
or we can look at transferring reserves from Logan, the sale of Logan, to shore up that negative fund balance. So there's a couple different options, just whatever the intent of the council and wish of the council would be come budget season.
The road use tax fund is $360,000. I like to pat Darrell on the back for that. He does a good job. He runs a pretty tight ship. So he usually does not spend as much as he receives, and that fund just grows and grows. We do have, I think we're going to have a couple projects that we might have to take out for out of the reserves for some street projects, but.
Sidewalk bricks.
Before you got here, Darrell, we did have a conversation about the bricks downtown.
Oh, he was
so-
here.
Oh, you were here? I'm sorry, I looked out and I didn't
Yeah.
see you.
So
My
we-
apology.
So the council knows, a portion of the Highland Street paving project will come out of here. There's approximately $180,000. And then also Third and Iowa, that project was split with wastewater picking up some of the street improvement and also the street department picking up some of the improvement. So that fund
Yeah.
will decrease once those two projects come to fruition.
After those projects, what's the expectation? I mean, what's going to be left after those two projects?
You know, John, it's sort of a moving target because we receive road use tax funds, and with the passage of the new gas tax, our hope is that our increment, our tax receipts continue to go up. So that, it's hard to say without knowing what
Yeah, I see.
our gas sales tax receipts will be.
The UDEG fund, that just kind of grows. We receive money every month from Falco for the loan
Still
we
paying for it.
loan them, so that just kind of keeps growing.
Well, it doesn't really grow because we spend more out of that than we take in on an annual basis.
Well,
Yeah, we
Versus
spend,
this-
26,000,
but you take in
12,000.
12,000.
Each month.
12,000 each month.
Mhm.
244,000.
It was 1,000 a month.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's 12,000
Yeah,
a
you're right. I
month.
think
It's
it is a little
1,000
over
month.
1,000. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Let's see, capital improvement, that's the levy that we put on every year. Darrell usually uses it for his street projects. That's just a little left over. The capital projects fund, I tried to take it down to zero because I wanted to clear it out. It's kind of been a revolving fund. We've used it to fund things and then the money comes back in and it really gets confusing. I transferred $89,300 from the Logan fund, sale of Logan, into that fund to finish Highland. So I'm hoping that Highland gets paid out of that. The lost, we received quite a bit more than we anticipated. So we have a little extra, 131,000 in lost. The outdoor pool and gym fund, I created that on its own because that was run through the capital projects fund, and I didn't want it to get confused. I wanted it to stand alone, just so we know exactly what's been spent and what's been received. At 1.3 is going to disappear pretty quick when we start paying for the gymnasium.
Joanne, may I ask what the 401 Sondheim sinking fund is?
There's nothing in that yet. Starting in July, we are required by law to put 10% of the debt that is owed on a note into a sinking fund.
From
in
local
case-
option sales tax.
In case the city of Fairfield fell off the face of the earth tomorrow, we're going to have enough, we need money in that sinking fund to pay off our debt. So from here forward, you will see money
So
transferred
where
into
will
there
those funds come from?
from lost.
So in addition to
So you
the-
They're
really
not
don't have-
additional funds. They're
Come out
just,
at 12
they're
and a
just,
Yeah, I will take it out of in July I did. Out of the 131,000, I just take 10% of the debt that's owed.
All right.
The water fund, 711,000. Yeah, okay. It's just about the same as it was last year, a little bit higher. Sidewalk fund, that just kind of, we still have people paying on their, that was assessed to their property taxes, so that nothing is spent out of there, it just kind of keeps increasing.
and do we pay any debt service out of that since when we
Yeah.
did those sidewalks, we paid for them ahead of time.
Yeah, it was already paid.
It was paid.
So, yep.
So those are
Yep.
basically reserve funds for sidewalks. There
Right.
you go, Mike.
Right.
That's the fund I
Right.
spoke about when I mentioned our
Right,
sidewalk
you did,
fund.
yes.
And then also with our strategic plan, one of the
Yeah.
initiatives was improve sidewalks throughout the community. So this is a
Right.
fund that we can use to do that,
Good.
that work.
We're going to start with bricks in the downtown.
And also,
Not sidewalks.
yeah, I did create a sinking fund, same thing. For water, I need to transfer 10% of our debt owed into the sinking fund, so I will start doing that in July. Wastewater, it's pretty healthy right now, 3.8. Last year, we were at 2.7, so that's how much that has grown.
And just for the council's awareness, not in the not too distant future, 2 to 3, even 4 years from now, we will see debt service payments of north of $3 million. So while that cash on hand looks high, we will have some significant debt service payments that will come out of that fund. So that's why that cash balance is higher right now. So those debt service payments have not started yet.
And just to give you an idea, the wastewater sinking fund, in July I transferred 42,387, so it will decrease that much each month. Because that's 10% of the debt that's owed. The obligated reserve fund is the 245,000 for the airport terminal. The airport fund, 59,000. Don't know what to say about that one. It's getting kind of low. I'm starting to get nervous. The solid waste, Michael.
Almost
It
out
went
of the hole.
from negative 6,000 in June to July, it's only negative 1,000.
Wow, 5 hard years to
So
get that thing
August,
out
it's
of
going to be in the black.
Hooray.
So that's kind of exciting. And the Logan Fund it ended up with 55,900. We do owe, HUD put they put the full payment in the city's bank account, and part of it goes back to the owner. So it will decrease a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Can I ask one more question about the sinking funds?
Mhm.
So I understand that they have to be held while there's a debt obligation, but once the debt is paid, what happens to the funds?
There are funds.
There are funds.
Okay,
And I
so then
suppose we
they're
could just
available to
roll
us.
those.
Right.
For a
For
next
whatever.
project or whatever.
Well, you could either put them for the next
Or they would
project, or
be-
you could
they
roll them
they
back
could be
into
your
the
last
regular fund.
payment
Last
also,
payment,
Right.
Yeah,
come out of
because
that?
after
That makes
you,
sense.
yeah, after you've paid your debt, you no longer
Like
are
an insurance
liable
policy.
for that,
Right.
right? And you can just
Yeah.
deconstruct that fund. So,
Good to know.
Joey, thank you very much. Council, I hope you appreciate that
Yeah, very nice.
chance to go through all of our different fund
It's
balances.
looking a lot
and
better.
explanations. Yep. Very good. We wish we were looking at this in March, but we are looking at it in August, and we'll stay the course and build a lot of these fund balances going forward. Any other final questions? Entertain a motion to approve the fund balance report.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hamas, second by Revelinsky. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Next, council, we have a Carnegie Museum contract that we are going to reauthorize. We have our city attorneys here. If there are any questions or any high points you want to bring out, John?
Mike and I have massaged this pretty well, and it's been in front of the museum board and the museum foundation board also. There were a few things that Indian Hills suggested as far as the right of first refusal and so forth that we didn't think should be in the agreement. There may be other things that other groups in the community would want to have a bite of first, such as the museum and its curator and the museum foundation, which are doing most of the work over there to improve the museum. But aside from that, we, I think, have better balance as far as the repairs. There was some adjustment on that. It's basically 50-50. There isn't a set amount of rent paid on this, but it's more a matter of mutual upkeep of the place Some of the main repairs would still fall on us because we own the building. Indian Hills could decide they're not there tomorrow, and we're going to keep whatever improvements they've done. The elevator's probably the single most expensive repair item. If there's something major, we take on a bigger part of that. But for the day-to-day on that, Indian Hills will be doing more than we are because they use it more than we do. But aside from that, you think anything else, Mike, as far as?
No, I think you covered it, Counselor. We would split utilities because we would occupy a larger footprint of the building. We would pick up a larger portion of the utilities. That percentage is approximately 2/3. Indian Hills would pay 1/3. On elevator repairs and non-structural major repairs exceeding $2,500, we split that with Indian Hills on a 50-50 cost share. As we get into structural repairs, that's an item that the city would pick up all structural, so foundation, that type of thing. Those become ours. And then, of course, responsibility for sidewalk, snow removal, ice removal, that type of thing falls back to the city of Fairfield. And then what John was referencing in terms of the elevator maintenance, we pay a preventative maintenance. We have a preventative maintenance service contract with Kone Elevator. It's estimated the city uses the elevator because we occupy the 3rd floor, and some of the patrons that visit the museum really use that elevator more than the students for Indian Hills is what the sentiment is. And so we would pick up 75% of that cost share arrangement. Indian Hills would pick up 25% of the cost share arrangement. And then lastly, each party would hold harmless the other and maintain their own respective insurance coverages. That's really the nuts and the bolts of the agreements, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion then to approve the contract with Indian Hills.
So
I
moved.
move to approve.
Moved by Rasmussen, second by Pally.
Comment?
Yes.
I'm going to vote no on this one because I feel like, first of all, I feel like this is an asset that we're just giving away for half the utilities, or not even half the utilities. I think we should be getting rent for it. I also feel like the elevator is actually a requirement probably for Indian Hills because of ADA requirements. Even though we may have someone who uses it more than their people do, it's still a requirement. I would think at least they should pay half. And the fact that, anyway, I wouldn't, aside from the philosophically, I feel that they should pay rent. I would say at least keep the 50-50 on the utilities and 50-50 on the elevator. So anyway, I'm voting no.
Okay, any other discussion? Now, please call the roll.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Abstain.
Hamas,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
No.
Ledger Kalin,
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next, Council, we have our city street report for 2015. Joy, you're going to go over that for us as well?
Yeah, again, it's pretty, just pretty the same as usual. I kind of like to brag on Daryl. He spent $966,000, but brought in $984,000. So the revenues are on the last page. Expenditures are on the, I guess, second page. I found out if you don't file a road use tax report, you don't get your road use money.
Just a question about that, Joy.
Sure.
On the statement sheet, part F on the right-hand side, administrative cost, 61,000. Are we paying some salaries out of that, Tony?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
That's what I thought. I
that's
just
salaries,
wanted to make
yes.
sure.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's, yeah, I found that out the hard way when we had one of our city administrators that had always done this report, and suddenly we quit getting our road use tax money, and I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, gotta file the report in order to get your money. So yeah, it's all online. It's pretty simple. I just need a resolution to approve it.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Revelinsky, second by Flournoy. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Next, council, we have a request for a tax abatement on residential. This is 605 North C Street, Richard Bullock. And I'm just going to get this open here. So made application for improvements. And it does meet all of our guidelines for tax abatement for residential.
Move to approve.
And yes, moved by
Second.
Hamas, second by Flournoy. Again, I was just looking for the actual cost of improvements was $35,000, yeah.
Right.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Now, council, we have a public hearing on the lease of our agricultural cropland adjacent to the Fairfield Municipal Airport. Would open up the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone who would like to comment publicly. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public hearing and ask our city.
Your Honor, I have one thing.
Okay.
I don't know what you have in your tablets. Do you have the lease?
Yes, we have a farm lease. in
How
our
about a
calendar.
resolution? Do you have that with it?
Yes.
Should be at the back of
Yeah,
the,
it's the next one.
All right, okay. I wasn't sure what I had with my pen.
Yeah, that's our next action item.
All right. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure you had.
So
the
you can stay right there, though.
right.
So, public hearing is closed. Now, council, we will look at the resolution to authorize the lease. John, anything you wanted to comment on there?
It's similar, and Bob Lyon is here too, to the lease that has just expired. And it's an advantageous lease to the city in the opinion of the Airport Commission. And I guess my perspective as far as having done several farm leases privately, it keeps a per acre price of about $405 an acre, which I guess one of the purposes of having a public hearing was if someone from the public wanted to come in and make us an offer greater than that, the public hearing can facilitate that, but it's also, it'd be the question mark in my mind as far as why someone would get into a bidding contest at that price. It's a very good offer. We're having the public hearing because the lease would be like the last lease we had, which was for a 3-year period. When you do that, you need to do the notice to the community and you need to have the public hearing. So we believe it's advantageous to the city to go ahead with this lease.
Okay, thank you very much. Then entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the agricultural cropland.
So moved.
Moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Hamas. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Hamas,
Yes.
Revelinsky.
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Ledger Caitlin,
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, I'm going to ask Robert Lyons to come up and talk to us about the hangar project.
Yes, now I'm here on behalf of the airport board. At our last meeting, the airport, the Fairfield Hangar LLC, which has land leased right now, we'll put this up. They actually have the land leased to build a new hangar. What they've asked for, and which the airport board approved, was an extension of their lease to 2040, and also a small amount of land, which John has a contract, you have the contract, everybody does. A small amount of land for a parking lot, and Cambridge is going to build a new hangar, 60 by 60, on the existing land they have, but they wanted the extension out, which the airport board approved. So
Okay.
a couple things here is just an extension of the lease for Fairfield Hangar LLC, a little bit more land here for their parking lot, and they're going to build a new hangar on the land. That will, everything, all this will revert back to the city in 24.
Okay.
Bob, is that, that's going to be an additional building or they're going to replace one?
No,
building?
new, brand
Additional
new,
building.
next to the existing.
A second, an additional building on the north?
Which is in very good condition.
Right.
Right.
So to the north of all the complex, there'll be another building then?
Correct,
I see.
which will house a new airplane for them.
Okay, Robert. Yeah, if you turn that for our camera on F-back, that'd be great. And then, Robert, so what we're doing tonight is setting a public hearing on this extension for August 24th.
Okay.
Okay. So council entertain a motion then to set public hearing on the extension of the lease for August 24th at our next council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Revelinsky, second by Flournoy. Thank you, Robert. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay. As council, we have consideration for assisting in a RISE grant. Mike, I'm going to ask you to walk us through this, please.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the projects that went before the Economic Development Committee this year is to enter into an agreement with the county, 2080 agreement, to pave approximately 2,680 feet of 227th Street in anticipation of attracting commercial businesses to expand on the parcels owned by FIDA, and also to basically increase our property tax base. And so the county has graciously agreed to enter a partnership with the city. We're going to both apply for a RISE grant and attempt to obtain 50% of the cost share of that project from state DOT grant dollars. And obviously a component of that is that we attract and develop those parcels over a period of time. But our portion of the project, we'd be looking at 25% of the project, and of that 25%, we would then special assess a component of those costs back to the property owners on the north side of 227th Street, which currently, there are only two property owners, the state and FIDA. And both the state and FIDA have expressed interest in waiving the cap on our ability to special assess. So in terms of what that percentage looks like, that would obviously come out of the Economic Development Committee and for ultimate consideration of the council. But essentially our 25% of the project without special assessments would be approximately $169,000 to pave 2,680 feet of 227th Street. 50% of the project, in theory, if we're successful in our application, would be paid for through state DOT grant funds, and the other 25% would be paid for by county dollars, cash they bring to the table. The county has agreed to sort of take the lead on this project and be the lead in the application for the grant, which I think is a beneficial item for consideration to the city.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, this would be the most economical way for the county to get involved in this project. Adam, do you have anything to add in terms of your discussions with the county?
There was a couple of questions brought up at the Board of Supervisors meeting this morning. The first of which was just asking whether any people outside the city of Fairfield would be affected by the special assessment. About 2 or 3 years ago when American was built, there was an attempt to do a special assessment on the full north and south side, 227th. That would have impacted some people on the south side of the road. Those people will not be impacted by this special assessment, as the county, the conversation at least thus far has been pay for this out of pocket on their side. So
it's adjacent property owners.
Adjacent property.
And again, I think when we went through this a few years ago, the county was not really familiar with how the special assessments are done. We've done many of them within the city, so I think there was a little bit of hand-holding that was necessary to get that across, but it's certainly they understand that, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So the resolution did not pass today, but it will pass next Monday.
Okay.
Fully confident of that.
Okay.
On the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Okay, Council, so then we entertain a motion to approve the resolution of support taking this direction in applying for the RISE grant funds.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hammes,
Second.
second by Ledger Kalin. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign.
And I will abstain as this is adjacent to the Iowa Department of Transportation's property.
And you work for them, don't you?
Yeah, that's what they say.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Okay, next, council will move to the third and final reading of ordinance 1132, and that's the rezoning of property along Libertyville Road from R1 as it comes in under annexation to R3 multifamily residential district. This is public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's any public comment. Not seeing it, we'll close the public hearing. Council, any feedback from constituents or anyone? Okay. Entertain a motion then to approve the final reading of this ordinance.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hamilton, second by Flournoy. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hamas,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Ledger Kalin,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to ordinance 1133, and that is designating Amendment 1 to the Fairfield Commercial Industrial Residential Urban Revitalization Plan. Again, this is our second reading. Mike, if you wouldn't mind just familiarizing the council again with what we are doing with this ordinance.
Absolutely, Mayor, thank you. Again, this is the second reading of the amendment to our revitalization, so our abatement economic development incentive tool. And what this amendment does is it updates legal description for basically the legal boundaries of the city of Fairfield. It adds multi-residential as an allowable schedule to receive tax exemption. It also basically allows other projects receiving other government funding, whether that be through grants or tax abatements or that type of thing, to also apply for and use our abatement program. And then lastly, it extends the deadline, or essentially it removes the deadline, and the council would have to repeal the ordinance if they wanted to stop the abatement program. Essentially, those are the four
Great.
changes, Mayor.
Thank you, Mike, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
This is a public hearing, so we'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's any public comment. Now we'll close the public hearing. Ask if the council would like to move this from the second to third reading.
Move to approve.
Moved by Ledger Kalin,
Second.
second by Revelinsky. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Nothing to report this evening, council. We'll move to our committee and board reports. Water and Sewer Utilities Committee.
We met prior to the council meeting this evening at 5:30. We had a sewer backup happen in a building on 300 South Maple Street. The property owner graciously took it upon themselves to repair the problem that they had, not only with their lateral, but with a portion of our main in the street. And the committee has decided, or is recommending, that we authorize a payment of up to $3,500 to do a cost share for what portion would have been the city's to repair on the main itself in front of the property at South Maple. So I would just like further approval from the council in order to authorize that spending.
So we have a motion by Hamilton to approve the shared
Yeah.
expense. Second by Flournoy.
Yeah, that would include main and the concrete in the street and that kind of thing is what this expense covers. So,
Okay.
And it comes out of the healthy balance of that fund, right?
yes, it does.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Hamas,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Ledger Kalin,
Yes.
We also discussed some of our sewer expansion project along Libertyville Road and another location that we were looking at for doing some work. The one location we are going to halt the work that we're currently doing to do more review on whether the cost benefit is actually there or not for this particular project on South Main. On the Libertyville Road sewer project, we are authorizing our engineers, Fern Tredeker, to work with JCG, our property acquisition agent, on trying to renegotiate some of the agreements. So we're moving ahead with that as well. And there's no action that needs to be taken by the council.
Okay, thank you for your report. Next, the Property Committee report.
Property met this evening, again, prior to our meeting, and basically the only item that we covered was the Indian Hills contract. And we met with Mike, and that we definitely recommended that we approve the contract, which has already been taken care of.
Okay.
And that was the only property business.
Great, thank you, Martha. Appreciate that. Ways and Means Committee?
We met right after property this evening, and we had two things on our agenda. One was a report from the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center. And we were happy to see that they continue to operate in the black after their donations that they've raised to cover other shortfalls of their expenditures. They give a detailed accounting, and they did promise to soon meet with the whole council to share their strategic plan for the next 5 years. Also, we discussed the issue of the payment for our sustainability coordinator, Scott Tim, which is an expense that's shared. His time is shared between working for the city of Fairfield and work that he does for Iowa State through the extension office here. And our portion of his payment is approximately $9,600 per quarter. And the discussion was how to allocate that payment, because it was not included in our budget for the coming year. And we moved to fund that out of the local option sales tax reserves, and that was it. So is this something the whole council needs to decide? I think Ways and Means just that's not something we're taking a vote on or something, I guess. So it's
Well, actually,
Where
at one
is
time,
it?
didn't we ask that we needed full council approval?
For
if
over
a-
5,000 or
over-
something?
No, it was over like 1,000 or 500 or 1,000 has to be authorized by the entire council.
Yeah,
Isn't that the
Well,
case?
something like that.
The only thing I'm a little gray on is that I know it didn't make it into our budget, but we did sort of pledge an intention to find a place for it. We're making a decision now, so I think it is a budgeted item. It's just a matter of we're approving, this expenditure.
for it.
and how to pay
Well,
for
we're
it.
changing where the allocation for this is coming from, is
Right.
what we're doing. And
Yeah,
We're
I-
moving it away from what we had thought we were going to use initially, because I think the discussions on that was from Logan at one point in time.
That's true,
but
it
it's
was in
also
that original
switched
budget,
some
yeah.
gears with that. And so now we need to come up with this contractual agreement. And this bill comes to us from Iowa State University. It's not one that's presented to us by contractor Scott Tim, which would be another way of looking at this as well. But,
So I'll go
yeah.
ahead and entertain a motion to approve the payment
So moved.
out of local option. Moved by Revelinsky,
Second.
second by Ledger Kalin. Mike, did you have something?
Just so I'm clear, Mary, is this something the council would like to see every invoice for this particular individual come back, or do we want to budget it for out of lost moving forward?
Yeah.
Feel
I
it's
didn't get the
necessary.
impression that Ways and Means made that decision
Okay.
in the meeting, so I think we'll take them one at a time.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I think
Let's see where
between
we're at.
now and our next billing, I think we should have that further discussion with Scott Tim. Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay. Okay. Motion is second, any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Revelinsky.
Yes.
Ledger Kalin.
Yes.
Hamilton.
yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Flournoy.
Yes.
Hamas.
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. John, anything else? No. Okay. Home Base Iowa?
I'm going to keep this brief. Tony really wants to keep it to under an hour meeting. So Home Base Iowa is a program Jessica brought to the Economic Development Committee. It comes from the governor's office, and it's an incentive program to attract veterans to relocate to Iowa. So for a community to be a participant, we have to offer certain incentives. So you go to the top 10 businesses, top 10% of the businesses, you choose a total. So we're going for about 10 or 15 businesses here locally. They'll offer internal incentives of their own. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are other communities who've done this. The city and those communities also offer benefits. So we're investigating two possible benefits from the city. One would be to waive the $25 hookup fee for our utility service for a veteran relocating to Fairfield. I haven't had a chance to talk to Steve Redinger. I put in a phone call, but he's been out last week, so he's probably playing catch up. But I'll talk to Steve and I'll talk to Mike and obviously bring that to the council. And then one other possible benefit we could provide would be free Park and Rec membership for a certain amount of time, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, something more than a token, but nothing that's going to break our budget. But it's a good program. Obviously, veterans provide a great service for our country, and we want to try to give back in some way. So just wanted to put those two in your brain, so when we bring a resolution at some point, it won't be a surprise.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And I think also being the home of an Iowa National Guard division, we probably get a lot of interest in this as well from Guard participants. So I think it would be a good thing for our community to have.
Yeah, we're also working with Ray Chambers from the Veterans Office on this.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. If administrative report, Mike, anything in particular?
Believe it or not, we had almost a week of dry weather, which has allowed us to get the backfill complete around the foundation at the rec center. So we should start to see steel go up over the next 30 days. We'll start to see that look actually like a building's going up there.
What's happening with Highland?
Highland, I took a drive down Highland last night and looked to see how much water had collected at that south end, and didn't look too bad.
So Highland Street, we have continued to monitor it. We monitor it several times a week. We've initially put a drain in the south end of Highland, and that took quite a bit of water. And as the rains continued to come, Daryl's crew actually dug a trench to relieve water from the south end of Highland, and it's now draining down Highland Street. Even with those measures, the road still continues to be wet. There is a soil subbase on Highland, and so that subbase needs to meet proper soil compaction requirements before we can pour concrete to ensure that that concrete lasts us for 30 years. So on street surfaces where we have a granular base, water drains more quickly, we can pave, we have certain, we're less restricted on what we can do. Unfortunately, Highland's not one of those roads, and as you know, it seems to rain about every 3 days. And so we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. I did draft a letter that went out to residents explaining our position. We've been in contact, Millie's been in contact with Shipley, and we've let them know that we want to be at the very top of their list as soon as Highland permits them to do work. So we're really trying to do everything we can to, and we certainly understand that it's an inconvenience to homeowners, and that's unfortunate.
And also, we are making internal policy on situations like this where there's a soil subbase and it is more sensitive to weather, that we will push these projects back later into the season when it's less likely to rain as an internal policy, just to avoid this kind of thing, because it's, we can smile and laugh, oh, Highland, but the people living there have been seriously inconvenienced for months and have essentially lost hope.
Yeah, they have, and we do apologize for that inconvenience. Melanie, can I ask you a question? What's the likelihood of Shipley's availability if we have a good run here of dry weather?
I didn't ask them specifically how long they are finishing up a job in another community. When I spoke to them last week before the rain over the weekend, they were about 2 weeks out.
Okay.
So if where they're at got less rain than Fairfield, we may be better, but as Mike mentioned, even if Shipley was available right now, it's still, the conditions on Highland are still too wet for them to move in.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Melanie. Appreciate that. Any other business before the council? Yes.
1 minute report. We have the Logan apartment money. We got an email today that HUD in Kansas City finally signed that assumption amendment agreement that we've been waiting for all spring. What that means is we'll get a final approval letter on time by August 17th. And what the significance of that is that all the obligations that the city has had towards HUD under our contract since 1976 are at an end. So we're done. The buyer actually has everything that's supposed to happen. And you probably noticed in your payment of claims tonight that you're paying the buyer for 2 months of rents that we've been holding, waiting on this stuff. The only thing we've got left now is 13 days of prorated in June, and we're all done with that.
Okay, thank you, John. Appreciate it. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Hamilton. Second by Flournoy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.